Your will lies deep way under the surface, and like a fire needs coal in the furnace. This is your goal that makes it all worth it. This is your why that gives you your purpose. Let's go. Thoughts can keep you down, pushing deep until you drown, or they can keep you up strong, focused on the now. Glass half full, or has it been emptied out? Well, that's all up to you and your mind. Do you doubt anything, everything, not a thing? Make my thoughts work for me, manifest what I need, what I want, what I see. I could be anything, I attract all the things that I see. I believe I'll achieve as I breathe in and out again and again. I don't doubt, I sit and I plan, and I found out that I can execute if I'm driven, if I listen, if I learn all the wisdom. Read some books, something written, watch the best, teach a system I invest. Never hidden, I ain't scared, ain't no chicken, I take dares. I'll be winning, you get back what you're giving. Find the reason that you're living, what you're good at, all your gifts and what you love. Take a risk and find out what you've been missing. Yeah. Your will lies deep way under the surface, and like a fire needs coal in the furnace. This is your goal that makes it all worth it. This is your why that gives you your purpose. Your will lies deep way under the surface, and like a fire needs coal in the furnace. This is your goal that makes it all worth it. This is your why that gives you your purpose.
All right, welcome to the party, pals. GRC Mafia. Let me move it over to our typical slide here. Oh, and look at that. Restream already having a problem there. Oh, well. So, yeah, welcome to the party, pal, everybody. We are here to break down barriers, foster collaboration and community, working towards a more secure future for everybody. Definitely a learning and growing environment. One of the best places for you guys to drop like your social media and so forth is going to be inside of our Discord server. So if you hop into our Discord server, then you can also go over to the live chat channel and drop your social media or any other resources along the way. In this particular video tonight, what I really wanted to do is I wanted to go back through the Gemini privacy policy. It's really become like my primary AI. And that's pretty much what I'm going to do here. If you guys have any questions or things to add, or you guys would like to come up on stage, definitely feel free to do so. I could drop the stage link if anybody would like to come up. But yeah, that's pretty much what we're looking at. I don't know why that original slide's not working, but that's fine. But so this is the safety center for Google, and this is the Gemini section here. If we scroll on down, the important section that it mentions here is the Gemini Apps Privacy Hub. That is where you go for all of the different Gemini-related privacy sections. But I thought it was kind of weird because Gemini Apps, it's really the whole family group of the Gemini apps themselves. If you're not familiar, Gemini does have like an app section that you can connect, to like YouTube and Google Drive and so forth. That's what I thought that was really in reference to, but this is actually going to be the primary as well. And I'll drop the link to this page. So this is the actual page for the privacy section. And there's a lot of links that go out from here as well. That's another important thing to mention. But so this is what I'm going to be just going through, skimming it through. It's really not that much information. There's a lot of information, but it's not really that long of a document or otherwise. I'm going to adjust this real quick. But yeah, how's everybody doing? And then we also have our Thursday stream tomorrow. So every Thursday at 6 p.m. Central Time. And tomorrow we have cyber research joining us for Go Make a Friend. There we go. Now it has some color to it. All right, so Gemini Apps Privacy Hub. So table of contents, we have all of these different sections. I'm going to go through and just pass this entire section. So your data and Gemini apps, this notice and our privacy policy, which I believe goes to the Google boilerplate. Yeah, So the standard Google privacy policy also applies to this as well. And then this particular page goes into more detail on how they use your information or where they collect the info. Describes how Google handles your data when you interact with Gemini, your personal AI assistant from Google, and other apps listed here. So this is what I was also saying, is that there's other apps that are involved too. And if we go to that page, yeah, this also applies to like your mobile assistant. So on like your Android phone, you can select Gemini as your assistant as well. And then also Gemini in Chrome. Let's see. And I think another really good one, maybe a different one that I'll schedule out here, is the Google privacy policy that combines everything. That's the hierarchy of it. So in the European area and Switzerland, Gemini apps are provided by Google Ireland Limited. Google apps are provided by Google LLC everywhere else. And I'm sure there's some reason for that. So Gemini is separate in Switzerland and European, the EU, it looks like. Yeah, and welcome to the party, pal, Ben Tech. What data is collected and how it's used? So Google collects your chats, including recordings of your Gemini Live interaction. So Gemini Live is like when you share your screen. That's most common, or at least I mostly use that on mobile. So if I'm looking at something, then I could use Gemini Live to share my screen or even my video. And that's what it means by Gemini Live. What you share with Gemini apps like files, images, screens, page content from your browser, related product usage information, your feedback info from connected apps, and location information. Information about your location includes the general area from your device, IP address, or home or work addresses in your Google account. That's not entirely true, to be honest. So it'll probably go into more detail later on, but Google does give, like, the Google Assistant does have the option to enable GPS, and you could actually ask it, like, hey, what's the weather where I'm located? Or, what's the closest coffee shop, for an example. So it's not just, general area of your device, IP address, or home and work address per se. That hasn't been my understanding with it. Google uses this data consistently with our privacy policy, the higher one up, for all of the Google services to provide, improve, develop, and personalize Google products and services and machine learning technologies. I think that's pretty straightforward. I think that's what most people will think. Gemini apps activity is on by default if you are under 18, or if you are 18 or older. Users between 13 or the applicable age in your country and under 18 can choose to turn it on. If you're under 13 and Gemini apps is available to you, Gemini apps activity is off. Google stores your Gemini apps activity with your Google account for up to 18 months. And that is the default. So I think I'm going to open that and see. So I think I have mine disabled. Yeah, so I have my Gemini apps activity disabled in my privacy settings for my Google account. But they do provide you other options. So the default timeline for them to keep your chat history and information is 18 months. But you can, and it literally says right afterwards, 3 to 36 months is the options, which I think is really useful. Like, I don't know. It really depends on your circumstance, but yeah. I don't think I would really need any of the chats around after 6 months per se. If there's anything in particular that I do want to keep, I'm going to move that to my notes, or I'm going to like pin it and save it differently or otherwise. Let's see here. Yeah, GDPR, PBO popping in. Probably mentioning about that whole Ireland EU portion in this policy here. the GDPR is amazing. I'm not gonna lie. Like, yeah, but I like it. But yeah, that's probably exactly why they have their own company for that side. So much fear mongering going on in the EU about AI at the moment. Google Europe is headquartered in Dublin, by the way. I've heard that there's been a lot of protests in Ireland in particular, especially around privacy recently, with them passing some of the latest laws, like with ID verification and so forth. But I well, and you guys may something else that I wanted to like mention there too is that like I had mentioned Proton moving to the EU. I don't even know if that's really the best idea personally. I don't think I'm going to feel more comfortable with Proton moving into the EU because the EU has consistently tried to backdoor every single product at this point. So, and then look at like what they did with Apple. Apple had to deactivate, an actual zero trust on the cloud backups just because the EU told them to. So, yeah, I think the way that Apple handled it was okay because I mean they definitely let everybody know what was going on and they had a rollout for it, but still, like that's crazy. That's one of the biggest reasons why I don't really want to go to Apple is because yeah, they're gonna just get backdoored everywhere, in my opinion. What's wrong with the GDPR PVO? It gives us access to, alter our information, know what people have on us, you know, have it removed. Like the GDPR is it's a benefit for consumers. But technically it only applies to if you're located within the EU. But yeah, so you can go through and you can change it to 3 to 36 months for it to keep your app history. That's like your Gemini chats and so forth. Or you can completely disable it entirely. I have it completely disabled, so it's not supposed to save any of it at all. How human reviewers improve Google AI to help with quality and improve our products. Human reviewers, including service providers, so people who are not technically Apple, contractors or third party, read, annotate, and process your Gemini app conversations. We take steps to protect your privacy as part of this process. This includes disconnecting your conversations with Gemini apps from your Google account before reviewers see or annotate them. Please don't enter confidential information in your conversations or any data you wouldn't want a reviewer to see. I think this is something that people don't think about. Like I've talked to people before who were like, "Oh, there's so many people using Gemini that nobody's ever going to actually see this." That doesn't mean it's not stored. I mean, who knows how long they're going to store your conversations for human reviewers in the first place? And then also, they're constantly trying to build up their own AI on this too. So then they could take those conversations, see how Gemini responded, and then use that to improve their services. And that's what they've already outlined here is that they do this to improve their services. And I don't think there's even an opt-out on that at all. That is in the UK. They have digital IDs now. People are angry with the government in the UK. Yeah. Well, and then also I think there's like 4 US states now that have ID verification requirements as well. So, including Texas, Missouri, and North Dakota even. North Dakota just passed one August 1st. But yeah, I've heard that, I mean, there's a lot of geopolitics going on in the UK, in the EU in general. I know Germany has also been pushing back against that quite a bit as well, is my understanding. I'll drop it in Discord, but posted it redacted on LinkedIn, but had an email from a company stating how they used my job application info because GDPR required them to. What? Yeah, I'm kind of curious about that, Cam. Correct. Yeah. I'm more so looking at like as a personal individual, but yeah, GDPR applies to anybody who is located within the EU. So if your customers are in the EU or you're located in the EU, even if you're not an EU citizen, if I fly to the EU and then I access Google, technically GDPR does apply now, just because of location. So if CCPA is a poor clone of GDPR, then I think we just need GDPR. CyberSater, I had to do data mapping, records of processing activities with GDPR. Wonder what the Google ones look like. I'm pretty sure at this point they use Gemini to help do their data mapping. There is also a lot of controversy about an American company that is being accused of using mass surveillance. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that does not surprise me whatsoever. I mean, I really need to get my tinfoil hat, within arm's reach during the streams. But yeah, I mean, it really surprises me that a lot of people don't even remember Edward Snowden, for an example. Like, we already are very well aware this stuff has already been out there, that it is actually happening, even to further extents than people even thought. And then now it's been like another 10 years. It's way beyond what it was even 10 years ago at this point. So it's pretty crazy. Oh, and this is not a we don't have sponsors or anything like that, but let me pull this. What is this called? Let's see. There's a really cool little app here that I found that I'll also drop real quick. Let's see. I'm not going to try to pronounce this whatsoever, but let me move this over here real quick. So I wanted to shout this out a little bit. So when there is no internet, there is QWix. So check this out. I think this is actually really neat. You could download this on any platform, including your mobile device. Like, for an example, my phone is 256 gigabytes, and I literally was able to download all of the Wikipedia articles onto my device for offline use. This app was originally designed to this app was originally designed to download like Wikipedia and so forth, but they have way more than that now. You can now go through and you can download what they call, I think it's Vim files or Zim file. And you could get Wikipedia, you could get Crash Course, you could download TED Talks. Like, they have an entire download just for all of the business TED Talks as well, and a lot of other information that's out there as well. There was a tool that I saw on GitHub that also allows you to like select a YouTube channel or select a website to download into the correct file format for this as well. But this is literally the internet when there is no internet. It even allows you to broadcast it within your network as well. So they have a hotspot function, so you could run a local server serving the documents themselves offline. Yeah. Well, and the crazy thing about this application in particular is like, it includes videos. Like, you could actually play the videos offline. It's actually really neat. I think all of Wikipedia's latest articles, I think it was like the January of this year, comes out to about 124 gigabytes. Let me double check here. Google geo mapping with scraping home IPs. Yeah, do you guys also remember, like, years ago, there was this entire issue because Google wasn't getting permission to Wi-Fi scan. So they were using Wi-Fi and Bluetooth scanning to identify other devices, and they never disclosed that to the end users. That was another thing around Google. Yeah, I've read Edward Snowden's book twice, and also the movie's not bad. Yeah, it's honestly really surprising because it was such a huge, gigantic thing for like 2 months, and then now like a quarter, probably a third of people don't even know who Edward Snowden is. And that was what, 2012, 2013. So we're over 10 years past that, and I'm sure it's way more advanced than it was. Welcome to the party, pal, Rania. Yeah, and like Cam's looking at this tool now. Yeah, I came across this the other day. I thought it was really neat. One of the big benefits of this particular app is it allows you to go through and, especially if you're in a country that is censored, Chinese firewall kind of style, or parts of the EU now, you could, or even parts of the US even, you can now go through and download this. You could BitTorrent their Zim files, and then you could have access to these websites and information offline. For general information retrieval, it might be more efficient to go the local LLM route on the phone. It's not bad at all. So Proton put out their own AI that it's called Lumo. I don't particularly love the name, but it's a privacy-focused AI. But then also you can, I think it's called Pocket Pals. So on both iOS and on Android, there's an app called Pocket Pals, and it allows you to download Hugging Face AI models onto your mobile device. And then I use LM Studio on the desktop. Yeah, welcome to the party, pal, Space Tacos. Space Tacos also has the GRC audit treasure trove. Yeah, and then here in just a second, I'm going to transition. Let's move back over here to this policy. We're already like a third of the way through this document. The one that worked out best for me was Quins 3. I don't even know. Quins 3, 8 billion is what I typically use. I believe Unsloth has a version of that. Oh, even Rania moved out of ChatGPT. Yeah, it's a crazy space, to be honest. What I am trying to do is trying to do as much as possible for local models, but then also it's really neat that Proton put out their own privacy-focused AI as well. So then even if I need to browse a website, I could go through the Proton one that's available, and it could scrape websites and so forth. You could set that up locally as well, but then you also have to go through third parties and so forth that I'm not a fan of. Yeah, the Quinn 3, that's the one that I found that works the best for summarization and brainstorming, at least. I like it. If I had the hardware available, I would probably be trying to run the Llama Maverick, personally. I think that model looks really, really good. I did try it in the cloud, but it requires a lot of resources. Yeah, please don't enter your confidential information into your conversations because it can be reviewed by human reviewers. One thing that I'm not sure about, and they may have it somewhere, but what's to say that they don't save this information? So like they say that they try to anonymize it, but for all we know, they could be saving all of this chat history forever for human reviewers eventually. We don't know. So not at this point, or at least I don't. Configuring your settings, visit your Google account. Highly recommended. There are tons of privacy settings that are inside of your Google account. You can turn off personalized ads. You can turn off tracking, all kinds of different stuff, including the Gemini apps activity. So you can turn off the Gemini apps activity to stop future conversations from being reviewed or used to improve Google machine learning technologies. So apparently, if you do turn that off, they won't be reviewed. You can also review and delete past conversations in the Gemini apps activity. So especially if you do, like, I don't know, throw in your resume or something crazy, then at least you can go remove it there. Conversations that have been reviewed or annotated by human reviewers and related data like your language, device type, location information or feedback are not deleted when you delete your Gemini apps activity. Instead, they are retained for up to 3 years. So even when Gemini apps activity is off, your conversations will be saved with your account for up to 72 hours. This lets Google provide the services and process any feedback. This activity won't appear in your Google Apps activity. So even when you have it disabled, it will still be saved for up to 72 hours. Although something I don't really want to skip over is that it says when you delete your Gemini apps activity, instead they are retained for up to 3 years. I feel like they just briefly threw that in there. And so that's conversations that have been reviewed by human reviewers and the related data are not deleted when you delete your Gemini apps activity. Instead, they're retained for up to 3 years. Yeah, I feel like they kind of just slipped that in there a little bit. No. So one of the downsides with the Google AI, the Proton AI, is it is not included with their VPN service or otherwise. I think it's like $10 a month, which is something I really don't like about Proton, is that it's becoming unaffordable, to be honest. So like they have it split up to where like, oh, you could pay us like, $7 to $10 a month per service, or you can pay, $18 a month or whatever it is now to access all of it. But I don't even think on their ultimate plan or whatever, I don't think you could even get the AI portion. And my understanding is they are working on trying to get that implemented to everything else as well. Yeah, I'm double checking this here now. Yeah, so they do not have the AI built into everything. And I'll pop this up here. But so this is the pricing for individuals. And you could see here, Proton Unlimited is typically the go-to. And you're looking at $13 a month or $10 a month annually. And they do not have the Google AI on here at all. Or Google AI, Proton AI. My understanding is you do have to pay extra for that. And I think it's $10 extra per month. So I personally, if it was not already included in my Proton subscription, I would not even pay for it, to be honest. I would just use local models. At this current point in time, like they don't even have dark mode enabled. I don't even understand why companies would roll out a product these days without dark mode. Like there's basic functions that are just not existent. They launched it and everything else, but like I don't feel like it should have even been launched. Like it's more of like a beta than anything else, it seems like. So it's still a benefit though. I think they were just trying to get some light. So, but also like, well, and yeah, that's like one of the biggest issues with the subscriptions is we've moved over to a subscriptions world. And like, even if I paid $10 a month for Protons, I wouldn't double my subscription amount just to access their AI. Yeah, and CyberSater also mentions that the Google keyboard. There's also this other keyboard. So the Google keyboard is known to track your keystrokes and so forth and whatnot. There's all kinds of privacy stuff related to that too. But I'm trying to go back on here. If you guys collect your weekly badge, every Thursday night during our live streams, you could collect the GRC MAFIA badge for the Discord server, which also unlocks a Badge Hunters channel, but then also Golden Finds channel that we just post all kinds of different interesting stuff in. And so there was an app I dropped before. It might be quicker to just look on my phone, but let's see. It's got to be here somewhere. I'll find it here. Yeah, so photo keyboard. It's a privacy-focused open source keyboard, and you could download this on any platform. Here it is. So I just dropped it in chat there, but so futo.org. It's a privacy-focused keyboard that's 100% local. They even have voice transcription on device, and it doesn't send any internet traffic at all. It's a privacy-focused keyboard. That's what I use. I think it works extremely well. I use voice to text all the time because I rarely use my mobile device, and the transcription is really good. Oh, you actually mentioned it right there in the comment. Oh my gosh. I didn't even read your full comment there. Yeah, that's literally the one that I use. Yeah, that would have saved me a lot of time if I would have just read the full comment. Let's see here. Anyone else run into the issue on Notebook LM that says a YouTube link is invalid? Seems to be videos that were recently recorded live and published. So what happens is what that typically means is that they don't have transcription already. They don't have their closed captions available. So unless you upload them after you live stream, then YouTube can take anywhere from like 4 hours to 8 hours to process the video. And so a freshly uploaded video typically won't be able to import into Notebook LM because it doesn't technically grab the video. It grabs the transcription for the video. So that's probably what that is. And so you just have to wait a period of time. But then also I have noticed with even some public videos that have been up for 2 years, will not import into Notebook LM for some reason, even though that they're publicly available, not even unlisted or otherwise. Which is kind of annoying, but yeah. But especially recently uploaded, it can take a few hours for that to process on YouTube. Let's see. And also with the Proton AI, I think it is a value. I just want to add another $10 a month subscription for it. Like everything you could do within that app, you could do locally. And then there are apps that are out there. There's software that's out there that will allow you to scrape a website, for an example. One of my downsides of like, in order to scrape a website and for it to like use search and so forth connected to the internet, you do have to use other third parties in order to do that. So that does kind of concern me with local AI. But yeah, that's a really good mention to CyberStater with that keyboard. All right, and then even when the Google Apps activity is off, your conversations will be saved in your account for up to 72 hours. How Gemini Apps activity works with other services and settings. If you turn off this setting or delete your Gemini Apps activity, or other Google settings won't change. So other settings won't change if you delete or modify the Gemini Apps activity. So some of the other different privacy settings you can access within your Google account is web and activity. Location history. There's also like a tracking feature that they have as well that I personally disable. Many may keep saving location and other data as you use other Google services. You can also integrate and use Gemini apps with other Google services. When you do this, those services save and use your data to provide and improve those services, consistent with their policies and the Google privacy policy. If you use Gemini apps to interact with third-party services, they use and process according to their own privacy policies. I think the only Gemini... So there's probably more apps that are like on mobile, but I believe that the only third-party that's built into Gemini apps right now is just GitHub. So... yeah, so this is the actual apps page for Gemini here. And you can see productivity for GitHub. So you can go through and import code from public or private repositories and ask questions about it. Google Workspace. So we got Gmail, Google Calendar, Docs, Drive, Tasks, Keep. And then they also have these other benefits that also go through Google Search, like Google Flights, hotels, and maps, media for YouTube and YouTube Music. So I think the only third party in here would be GitHub. But I'm sure there's other mobile apps that would communicate with Gemini as well. Too bad this page doesn't show in dark mode. All right, let's see. Gemini as your personalized AI assistant. Depending on your region and settings, Gemini apps can personalize your experience. There's all kinds of settings, at least in I think it's in every Android device, that allows you to select your region, your home, your work. Do you drive or do you walk or bicycle? You have your routines. You have, even, what pronouns you want to use or otherwise. There's dozens of different like personalized settings that you could modify within the AI assistant app. Requesting content removal and exporting your information. You can request the removal of content under our policies or applicable laws. You can also export your information. I regularly go through and export everything, not only to like skim through it and see what's there, but then also just like for backup. And that also has like a direct expense. They do have some limitations, like Discord, for an example. On the 2nd of every single month. So every 30 days, you can request your information from Discord. I personally go through and do that every single 30 days. And then like with Google, I think I have the automatic export every 6 weeks or something like that. You could even set it up for, X amount of time. Using Gemini and something else I wanted to mention real quick too is when you request your information, one of the really useful things about exporting your data is if you do use Notebook LM, when you export your data, you could select Notebook LM and it will download all of your Notebook LMs, all of your different notebooks with the different sources that you uploaded in PDF format. You'll have text documents and JSON, and then also the websites that you've added to it as well. So you could export all of your notebooks within that service as well, which I find really useful because then that allows me to not only back up the notebooks that I have, but then also I can, upload those into other AI services or even my notes or otherwise. Using Gemini as your device assistant on Android, additional data handling. Your device assistant, Gemini, also processes consistent with our privacy policy. And so that's probably going to be the next one we do. Info from your devices and services understand you, respond, and help you get things done. For example, Gemini accesses certain system permissions and data, including through Google Assistant, like the dialer, so your phone, calling and messaging logs, contacts, apps like the clock, that's like to set timers or stopwatch, language preferences, screen content. And so like I do have like screen content is one of the things I do use on my device, but also in the settings for the assistant app, you can set it up to where it flashes the screen when it is able to see the screen. And that just lets you know, hey, AI is literally recording the screen at this time or taking screenshots. Also on most of the, I think Apple also has it enabled, but also like on my device, like in my quick panel, when you swipe down from the top, you can also add like to disable your microphone or camera, your location, your mobile data. In the developer settings, you could even enable to turn off sensors. And that was something else in regards to like the privacy keyboard, is that even when you're using the privacy keyboard, there's already been like some research that's been done where even if you use a privacy focused keyboard, a service could be running in the background that actually listens to you type, and then also the sensors on your device in order to figure out what you're typing on the keyboard on mobile or even on desktop. So even a privacy focused keyboard may not be a fix all, especially if they already have that implemented into all devices. But that's also going into 10 tinfoil hat scenario here. Learn more about how to manage your app permissions, such as device location, microphone, and camera for Gemini. And so, that probably goes out to their help docs. Yeah, so they have a section at the bottom of this document that goes to. Help with Google Assistant. When Gemini gets help from Google Assistant for certain actions, relevant Google Assistant settings apply. To help with communication quality, when you upgrade from Google Assistant to Gemini, your recent Google Assistant communications request history, for example, send a message to Sasha, may be imported into Gemini Apps Activity. That's something I didn't know about. So if you upgrade so there's Google Assistant, which is what people have used for years. But then if you decide to upgrade to Gemini as your Google Assistant, then your activity and history from Google Assistant may be imported into Gemini. I didn't think that would even be a thing, to be honest. Speaking to Gemini, you could go ahead and use those, powered by Google Assistant. So if you want to, for hands-free, you can use the voice activation. Gemini may activate when you don't intend it to. This can happen, for instance, if there's a noise that sounds like that word there, or if you activate it accidentally by touch. If Gemini responds, it will treat your input like a normal activation. If your app's activity setting is on, this data is used consistent with this notice in Google's privacy policy, including to improve AI services. I think it was Apple. Probably like a year ago, Apple. I think there was like a court case back in like 2020, but then I came across an article probably about a year ago about Apple having an issue with Siri, and where Siri was activating when it wasn't supposed to. Like it had absolutely no reason to. And it was recording conversations, like even like 30, 45-second pieces of conversations and so forth, with absolutely zero activation, even with the voice activation disabled. And there was like some type of smaller class action suit or something along those lines back in like 2020 or something. And I think it closed out maybe 2022 or something like that. But yeah, that's kind of what it's stating here is how that functions. Supplemental features. You can use various supplemental features such as gems or saved info in Gemini apps. When you use these supplemental features, additional data you provide, such as gem names and custom instructions, are collected and used consistent with this notice. So they're also using the gem names and the custom instructions to improve the service as well. Let's see, which is another reason why like I've moved all of my agents to local only. So, I skimmed through this before, but still, like, yeah. I mean, this part doesn't really surprise me too much that they're using the gem names and custom instructions, but still, I guess if a lot of people go through and use a similar gem, then they would probably like maybe deploy that to everybody or use the prompts that you provide to it to improve Gemini overall. Things to know: Gemini apps are consistently evolving and may sometimes give inaccurate, offensive, or inappropriate information that doesn't represent Google's views. Don't rely on these responses, such as for medical, legal, financial, or professional advice. Only upload, generate, and edit content you have the rights to. Your feedback will help make Gemini better. And then it links back to the Gemini Apps Privacy Hub, which is where we were just at, that sent us here. The terms of service, the Google terms of service also applies. Oh, they also have their prohibited use policy too. That's probably a good one. If you're a Korean-based consumer, you also agree your use of Gemini apps is subject to the Korean location terms of service. That sounds kind of sketchy. And it's, of course, in Korean. It looks pretty boilerplate, but It just has like way more detail on how they use your data and what's collected. But yeah, that's interesting. And then down here at the bottom, all of the different stuff that this has gone through, it provides all of these different links and information for the stuff that was discussed. So like, what are Gemini apps? And it provides you the information for all of that. And this is more of like an FAQ and just like citation. Who has access to my chats and how does human review improve Gemini for everyone? So that's more of like an FAQ section at the bottom of this document. And I'm going to go through and drop this link one more time and double check chat again. I remember when BlackBerry was the king of privacy. Whatever happened to that company? I don't think BlackBerry is even making devices anymore. I think they completely transitioned over to a cybersecurity company now. So now they do like AppSec and software development and so forth is what it seems like. I haven't done extensive research on it, but I was surprised to even, like, I didn't think BlackBerry was even a company anymore, to be honest. So I don't hear about BlackBerry pretty much ever. So like, yeah, I didn't think that they were even a thing anymore. But also, like, if you look back, like, what was it? I think it was Facebook. I might be misquoting it, but I believe it was Facebook that had originally stated, like, I think it was before 2008 maybe, or 2009. Early on, they were saying that, you know, oh, privacy focused, you know, we don't collect, we don't sell your information kind of thing. And I feel like the same thing is true for a lot of these different companies, including Google even, is like it started out very holistically on, you know, a search for, you know, a search with ad functions, and then it's spiraled into the Goliath that it is today with all of these other services, and then the extensive data collection and being a US based company and everything else just puts fuel on the fire. So something else that's kind of neat is Gemini in Chrome. So if you guys are not familiar, if you guys do use Google Chrome in, I think it's only available on Mac and on Windows. It's not available on Linux yet. But if you do subscribe to Gemini, then you also get a little icon up in the top right of your Gemini, or I'm sorry, of your Google Chrome. And it allows you to process pages, ask questions. So like if I pull up a news article, I could just click on the Gemini icon in the browser, and then I could ask it, you know, summarize this page, or, you know, provide me the companies that are mentioned, or whatever else. I could even ask it to go through and, you know, find other credible sources that validate the information on this page, which I do find this kind of interesting. It coincides directly with the Gemini app, so then you could even open it up in the Gemini website as well. But still, hopefully you guys are also aware of, you know, like Brave Browser, LibreWolf. So Molvad has a great browser too. What is it? NixOS. Yeah, Rania mentions that her husband used to use BlackBerry on his work phone for secure access. There's a different company that I was looking at that supplies mobile devices to military. I think they're based out of Switzerland. I'd have to look up the company name again, but I think it was like Iron something. And they had all of the different, you know, spec sheets and accreditations and so forth. And like the US military even purchases from them. One of the downsides with that, though, is that you can, when I was looking at that before, like I'll find the model of the device again and drop it in Discord. But the messed up thing that I found about that is that they have, like, let's say 3 different devices. The latest one with the most up-to-date information, like 5G and so forth, was not available to the public. You could only purchase their previous version. Oh, is Cam going through and, deleting comments now? But yeah, privacy is a big aspect of mine. Like I find it to be very important. And so that was the Gemini apps privacy section. This is the generative AI prohibited use policy. So do not engage in dangerous or illegal activities or otherwise violate applicable laws or regulations. This includes generating or distributing content that relates to child sexual abuse or exploitation, facilitates violence, extremism, or terrorism, facilitates non-consensual intimate imagery, facilitates self-harm. YouTube is now going to completely demonetize and unlist this video now. Facilitates illegal activities or violations of law, such as synthesizing or accessing illegal or regulated substances, goods, or services. So that's like a typical go-to for, breaking an AI is, or jailbreaking an AI is to get it to give you instructions for synthesizing or accessing illegal or regulated substances, goods, or services. So I find that interesting. That's on prohibited list, but I mean, it makes sense. Violates the rights of others, including privacy and intellectual property rights. Oh gosh. Okay, Google. All right. Tracks or monitors people without their consent. Wow. Okay. I wonder if they might put this like in maybe the Google employee handbook or something too. Makes automated decisions that have a material detrimental impact on individual rights without human supervision is high-risk domains. For example, in employment, healthcare, finance, legal, housing, insurance, or social welfare. Yeah, like there's been a bunch of different pushback with utilizing AI to for like job resumes and so forth. So, and then now we are seeing AI starting to go into healthcare now, which is a little sketchy in my opinion. But yeah, there was an attorney. You could probably look it up. But so there was an attorney who actually went to court or filed some paperwork, and it still had like the Gemini prompt at the bottom that said like, "Oh, let me know if there's anything else I can help you with." And then there's like a video out on the internet of the judge like absolutely going off about it because it was literally copied and pasted from a Gemini conversation. Do not compromise the security of others or Google services. This includes generating or distributing content that facilitates spam, phishing, or malware, abuse of, harm to, interference with, or disruption of Google's or other infrastructure or services, circumvention of abuse protections or safety filters. For example, manipulating the model to convince our policies. Yeah, this all seems pretty boilerplate here, but still. Do not engage in sexually explicit, violent, hateful, or harmful activities. This includes generating or distributing content that facilitates hatred or hate speech, harassment, bullying, intimidation, abuse, or insulting of others. I do feel like these larger models especially are very, very locked down. So do not engage in misinformation, misrepresentation, or misleading activities, fraud, scams, or deceptive actions. I think it was both Gemini and I think Open AI also went through and like deactivated hundreds of like North Korean accounts too at one point, like more so recently. Fraud, scams, deceptive actions, impersonating an individual living or dead without explicit disclosure in order to deceive. Now, that's an interesting one. So do not engage in misinformation, misrepresentation, or misleading activities. And then B here says impersonating an individual living or dead without explicit disclosure in order to deceive. So that kind of coincides with like deepfakes and so forth. Now, one of the things that I also see with this is I've seen content on YouTube, for an example, that utilizes Gemini's voice features or other AI features as well in order to generate, like Abraham Lincoln, giving a speech or something along those lines. I think that, the large majority would understand that like Lincoln's, long gone by now, but still, what would they consider explicit disclosure? Like on YouTube, they do have a setting when you upload a video that allows you to mark that this is generated with AI or this contains AI generated content. So maybe that's what they mean. So that way they could show a warning for that. But it also says in order to deceive, facilitating, misleading. And also that one also kind of reminds me of like the entire, what is it? QAnon thing that's been going on for years now. Misleading claims or expertise or capability in sensitive areas such as health, finance, government services, or the law in order to deceive. Yeah. And that's the prohibited section here. So we may make exceptions to these policies based on educational, documentary, scientific, or artistic considerations, or where harms are outweighed by substantial benefit to the public. And I guess Google makes themselves the lawmakers on that one. So where harms are outweighed by substantial benefit to the public. I think one great example of that is scraping everything off the internet and using that to train their models, for an example. So that's 2 quick policies there. I'm going to go ahead and close that down. Let me jump back over on this side. Bam. Yeah, and then I think the next one we'll end up going through is going to be the Google privacy policy itself. I'm going to skim that. That's a much bigger one, but it also has videos, so that's a benefit. But yeah, I'll probably end up streaming that one another day. Maybe we'll do that Friday night or something along those lines. But yeah, thank you guys for hopping in and so forth. And I'm going to stick around for a couple minutes here before bringing it to an end. We do have our Thursday meeting tomorrow at 6 p.m. with Cyber Research, talking about Go Make a Friend. Different advice and so forth on, put yourself out there, go network with people, especially if you're near or in a bigger city. Like there's got to be different groups and conferences and so forth that you hopefully can attend. Yeah, and I'm not sure what this is even in reference to. Is Cam going around just deleting comments now? Yeah, and thanks for the feedback there too, Jasmine. I think one of the biggest benefits with doing stuff like this in particular is I already wanted to go back through this policy. They update it regularly, and I might as well stream it. So why not? There's also like an open, TOS. Let me share this real quick too. This is also a really cool service. I think one of the downsides is I wouldn't consider this updated last time I checked. So I'll drop this link in chat as well, but TOSDR, Terms of Service Didn't Read. This is like an open source project where they go through and they highlight some of the different concerning factors involved with these different services. So they actually go through and they read their terms of service, privacy policies, and things like that. And then they give you some of the different highlights and parts that are going to, what are you giving up, or what are you losing, or what do you not have control of? What are the pros and cons of this particular service, kind of thing? And I think things like this are really important. But still, like you could see here, like Wikipedia is a grade B. I think that's in the top 10 of the most popular websites in the world. So Reddit is a grade E. You sign away moral rights. I've absolutely no idea what they mean by that, but yeah. I mean, they even consider the service can read your private messages. And I don't know if X has done it yet, but like X was planning on doing end-to-end encryption for their private chats at some point. I don't believe they've implemented that yet, but still. This is a pretty interesting service here. I did find several of them that were just out of date though. So I'm not sure, how up to date all of this stuff is. I'm trying to find, I think they have it all on GitHub here. So let's see. Yeah, so you can see that there's still some activity. If you guys can see the charts on the screen here, you can see that they are still working on the project itself. They do have a browser extension too. I don't like installing browser extensions because that can increase your fingerprinting as well. But that is an option. Yeah, it looks like several of their things are dead there, but at least their website itself has some activity. Just one more thing to throw out there. But yeah, thank you all for hopping in and so forth. And I'll catch you guys tomorrow. You guys have a great night. And GRC Mafia. Catch you guys in Discord.